The Ocean, or The Ocean Collective if you may, is one of my favorite bands of all. It was them who really introduced me to progressive metal and post-metal. Not only that, but it was through their music that I also started listening to Catatonia, the band that would become my favorite band of all time. I have to thank The Ocean a lot for how they shaped my taste in music, and also how they got me interested in the different eons of Earth, philosophy, the depths of the ocean, and most important of all, dinosaurs. That's right, if you thought this video was about the depths of the actual ocean, you're wrong. We're going to talk about the band The Ocean, so click away right now if you feel like you've been clickbaited, or stay if you enjoy good music. So let's talk about this band. So there's this idea that heavy metal is the music of intellectuals. I first became acquainted with it while listening to The Ocean. If you look over their discography, it becomes quite interesting once you pay attention to their selected topics. This isn't true to every genre of metal. For example, speed metal is the music of drunkards, while black metal is the music of vandals and assholes. With exceptions, of course. Do not generalize what I'm saying, but the thing is, progressive metal, and that kind which The Ocean and bands like Opeth play, are very similar to classical music, and that's why you will see a lot of people who listens to progressive metal make comparisons to how classical music is heavy and how it is equal to modern day progressive metal. Not me saying that, blame it on this handsome man, Mikhail Ekerfeld. He didn't really say that, but let's move to the subjects that The Ocean covered in their music. Philosophy was the main go-to subject they selected in their first few albums, such as Heliocentric and Anthropocentric. These albums criticized religious organizations who try to control education and information, something that happened quite often during the so-called Dark Ages, only ending around the time of the Renaissance. It was indeed priests and members of the church who studied for real. Nobody else, at least in Europe, studied during those times. So anybody who discovered something that went against not necessarily the Bible but the church was in danger of getting punished by his so-called sins. From these two albums, I especially love the songs Anthropocentric, Heaven TV, and Metaphysics of the Hangman. To this day, we still have people who believe that evolution isn't real, that think that Earth was created in 7 days, and that humanity is at the center of everything, that Earth is the center of the universe. Such people are dangerous to society, for they, through convincing speeches towards short-sighted people, can convince them to believe whatever they wish. Something we have seen many times in recent years and have no signal of stopping. That is what happens when people don't have access to proper education, or in the case of this album, when close-minded organizations have control over it. They don't have to be religious necessarily. I am not criticizing religions themselves, but people who use it to their own gain over the prejudice of others, just to clarify things. To close off this bleak section, I would just like to say that I love the artwork for these two albums. They just look beautiful. I wanted to make this video mostly due to their album Pelagio, which is not only my favorite album of theirs, but also it holds my favorite song of all time. At a glance, this album is about the ocean, as the band is also named. As the songs pass by, you, the listener, goes deeper into the ocean, penetrating each new zone. Once you leave the surface behind into the first meters, you enter the epipelagic. The seawater floats into your ears, everything is blue but you can still see the light of the sun above. As you go deeper, getting within the mesopelagic, bathypelagic, abyssopelagic, and finally the hadopelagic, you're so deep under the ocean that everything is pitch black and darkness. There is no light for anyone to see. The pressure is so high that you are crushed by the ocean itself in only a matter of moments. Life here is completely alien to you, for the bottom of the ocean is less known by humanity than the stars themselves. This album makes a parallel between the different zones of the ocean with the depth of the human consciousness. You see, the collective was very interested in many philosophers and psychologists. Friedrich Nietzsche was just one of them. The deeper you go into someone's mind, the more obscure and claustrophobic it becomes. There is no space for you to breathe, only darkness. I just love this album. It was first made as instrumental, but vocals were added in later on. I love both versions. Many sound effects were also used in this album. These were taken off old films about submarines to improve the atmosphere of the entire album, which is something that I think was masterfully done. Other than that, I like the artwork a lot. It represents well the album, and it was the first thing that called my attention and made me listen to it. My two favorite songs here are both the abyssopelagic ones, Boundless Vasts and Signals of Anxiety. This one most of all. Signals of Anxiety is my favorite song of all time. It is just perfect and impeccable song. It has everything I want in a song. Nice sound effects to set the mood, harsh vocals, clean vocals, good instrumentation, mind-bending lyrics, acoustic guitars and distorted guitars, and it is around 5 minutes long. This song is just the perfect song. Talking about The Ocean, of course I have to mention their most popular albums. It all started back in 2008 when they released Precambrian, the first of many albums in which they chose the history of Earth as the main subject. Precambrian's artwork is akin to Earth's magma, very prevalent during most of that period. And here I prefer mostly the Archean songs, if you may. The first 5 songs, Hadean, Eoarchean, Paleoarchean, Mesoarchean, and Neoarchean, are my favorite ones and the most pumped up songs in this album. They just make me want to headbang. A decade later, that's right, in 2018, they released Phanerozoic 1 Paleozoic, in which they cover everything between the Cambrian explosion to the Permian, when vast deserts covered Earth and many species went extinct, leaving room for dinosaurs to become the dominant species in the planet. My two favorite songs here are Cambrian 2 Eternal Recurrence, another headbanging song, and Devonian Nascent? How do you say this word? Nascent? I think it's Nascent. The song that got me acknowledged with Catatonia's existence. The next two albums also follow the same line. Phanerozoic 2 Mesozoic Cenozoic came out 2 years later and focus on those periods. This artwork here might just be the best album cover by The Ocean, and the songs here that I would recommend here are Jurassic Cretaceous and Miocene Pliocene. Just amazing songs. More recently, in 2023, they released Holocene, which is to be the last of their History of Earth subject albums, and it pretty much covers the period that we humans existed, a very brief one. This last album has a more synth metal sound to it. Although The Ocean has always been a post-metal band, this album went way beyond, for the synth player was the main lead for all the songs. I personally like that. I love whenever a band tries something new instead of sticking to the same old sound, so that's a thumbs up for me. For my first few listens I didn't like the album that much, but on my third time listening to it I was on the song Suburio or Unconformities, and that's when it clicked in my head how good this album actually was. Just falling in love at that very moment. So, I love The Ocean. My favorite albums of theirs, if not made clear enough, are Pelagio, Mesozoic, Cenozoic, and Holocene. Just incredible albums, and I would highly recommend all of them if you want to listen to the collective's best material. I am looking forward to their next masterpiece and what subjects they might select. Maybe ancient history. We could see an album with songs with such titles as Mesopotamia, Bronze Age Collapse, The Dark Ages, or maybe about politics. An album with songs such as Democracy, Republic, Monarchy, and so forth. A Man Can Dream and I Will Dream, for The Ocean is an incredible band and you should listen to it.